The bridge of the galactic exploration vessel Harmony's light buzzed with activity as Captain Vextar stared at the screens before him. His scales rippled with confusion as he read the data for the third time. "Check those numbers again," he said to his science officer Mira. Myra's bioluminescent markings flickered as she tapped her console. "Numbers confirmed, Captain. Planet XR 847 is definitely Class 15. Gravity is almost twice our standard. Constant storms. Ground shakes all the time. The creatures living there are bigger and stronger than anything we've seen before." Vextar felt his forearms tense. In 200 years of space exploration he had never seen a Class 15 Deathworld up close. Only 12 such planets existed in all the known galaxy. Every one of them was marked with a red warning: "Stay away. No life can survive there." "Start the scans," Vextar ordered. "The Council wants everything recorded. Pictures, measurements, everything." His crew moved quickly. Species from 6 different worlds worked together, each doing their assigned task. This was routine work. Find a dangerous planet, mark it on the map, and move on. Nobody would ever try to live on a Class 15 world. It would be suicide. 2 hours passed. Then Myra's console started beeping loudly. "Captain?" Myra's voice cracked with shock. "I'm picking up buildings down there. Not natural formations. Actual buildings arranged in patterns. And I'm detecting power sources. Lots of them." The entire bridge went quiet. Every crew member stopped what they were doing and stared at the main screen. "That's not possible," Vextar said slowly. But the screen showed the truth. A city sprawled across the planet's surface, sitting between 2 active volcanoes. Tall buildings reached toward the storm-filled sky. Roads connected different sections. Lights glowed in the constant darkness created by the thick clouds. "Run a population scan," Vextar commanded, moving closer to the screen. Myra's hands shook as she worked. "Captain, I'm reading approximately 2 million life forms down there. They have homes, workplaces, schools. This isn't a small research base. It's a real city. People live there." Tolvan, the ship's engineer, spoke up. His crystalline body reflected the screen's light. "How is anyone surviving down there? The air pressure would crush most of us. The radiation levels would kill us in hours. And look at that storm. Those lightning bolts are 10 times stronger than anything on my home world." "Who are they?" Vextar asked. Mira zoomed in the visual scanners. The image showed figures walking on streets. They had 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. They looked almost fragile compared to most galactic species. The computer searched its massive database of known intelligent species. "Match found," the computer announced. "Species, human. Home planet, Earth. Galactic Council member for 31 years. Vextar felt his blood run cold. Humans. The strange newcomers from a yellow star system. The ones who used old-fashioned rockets and seemed amazed by basic technology that the galaxy had used for thousands of years. The ones who brought pets to council meetings and insisted on eating solid food instead of nutrition paste. Those humans had somehow built a city on a Class 15 Deathworld. "Show me surface activity," Vextar said. The screen changed to show street level. Humans walked casually through their city while lightning struck buildings around them. Children played in parks while the ground shook beneath their feet. Workers operated heavy machines in the open air, wearing only light protective suits. A vehicle drove down a street, its passengers completely unconcerned about the Category 7 storm raging above them. One human stood on a high balcony, looking up at the chaos in the sky. The human's posture showed no fear. They seemed relaxed, perhaps even happy. "Get me a direct line to the Galactic Council headquarters," Vextar ordered. "Priority emergency channel." His communications officer worked quickly. "Channel open, Captain." Vextar straightened his uniform. What he was about to report would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about possible colonization. About survival. About humans. "Council members, this is Captain Vextar of the Harmony's Light. I am transmitting data that requires an immediate emergency session. We have discovered another Class 15 Deathworld. And it already has a human city on it. A city with 2 million people. They're not just surviving down there. They're living normal lives." Far below on the planet's surface, in the city called New Incheon, Mayor Daehoon Kim stood at his office window. He sipped his morning coffee and watched the beautiful lightning displays across the purple sky. Another storm was coming. Good. The city's power collectors would store extra energy today. He smiled. It was going to be a productive day. The Galactic Council emergency meeting lasted 3 hours. Representatives from 40 species argued, debated, and expressed their disbelief. Finally, they reached a decision. Captain Vextar would lead a contact team to the surface. They needed to understand how this was possible. Vextar stood in the shuttle bay, checking his environmental suit for the 5th time. His crew looked nervous. Pilot Kessa, a skilled flyer from the water world of Aquanis, reviewed the descent path with shaking hands. "Captain, the atmospheric conditions are beyond dangerous," Kessa said. "Wind speeds exceed safety limits by 300%. The electrical interference will make navigation almost impossible. And the turbulence." "I know," Vextar interrupted gently. "But humans are down there walking around without heavy suits. We have the best technology in the galaxy. We can make it." The shuttle launched. Within seconds they entered the planet's atmosphere and all hell broke loose. The craft shook violently. Warning alarms screamed. Lightning struck their shields repeatedly, draining power faster than anticipated. Gravity fluctuations threw them sideways, then up, then down. Kessa fought the controls with all her strength, her face twisted in concentration. "Hull temperature critical," shouted their engineer. "Shields at 60%. 40%. Captain, we need to abort." "Keep going," Vextar ordered, gripping his seat. Through the viewport he could see the city below, growing larger. Humans lived through this every single day. After 20 terrifying minutes, the shuttle crashed onto the landing pad harder than intended. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the cabin. But they were down. They had survived. Vextar opened the hatch and his environmental suit immediately registered dangerous readings. High radiation. Toxic atmospheric particles. Air pressure that made his suit strain. Temperature fluctuations. He stepped onto the landing pad and nearly fell. The gravity pulled at him like a heavy blanket. "Welcome to New Inchan." A human woman walked toward them wearing a simple business suit and a light transparent shield around her head. Nothing else. No heavy protective gear. No reinforced suit. She moved easily in the crushing gravity, smiling warmly. "I'm Mayor Soyan Park," she said, extending her hand in the human greeting gesture. "Sorry about the rough landing. We're in storm season right now. Should calm down in a few weeks." Vextar stared at her. Storm season. She called this storm season as if it were normal weather. As if Class 15 conditions were just a minor inconvenience. "I am Captain Vextar," he managed to say. "Thank you for allowing us to visit." "Of course. Come on, I'll show you around." Mayor Soyan led them into the city. Vextar's team struggled to walk in the heavy gravity. Their suits whined with effort. But everywhere they looked, humans moved normally. A man jogged past them running for exercise. Children played in a nearby park, laughing as they kicked a ball. An elderly woman sat on a bench, reading a book while lightning flashed overhead. "This is our main residential district," Soyan explained, pointing to rows of reinforced buildings. "We house about 400,000 people in this sector. The schools are over there, medical facilities to the east, commercial zone to the west." "How?" Mira gasped, struggling to breathe in her suit despite its oxygen system. "How do you survive here?" Soyan looked confused by the question. "Well, we built proper structures. Reinforced foundations for the earthquakes. Lightning collectors for the storms. Radiation shielding in the walls. Standard colony stuff, really? Standard colony stuff." Vextar wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. They visited a school next. Human children sat in classrooms learning mathematics and history. During the tour, the ground shook violently. Vextar's team grabbed onto walls for support. The children barely looked up from their work. "Just a small one," a teacher named Miho said cheerfully. "Maybe magnitude 6. The kids are used to it." Later, they toured a construction site where workers built a new residential tower. The humans operated massive machines in the open air. One worker, a young woman named Hannah, climbed scaffolding 300 feet high while wind threatened to blow her off. "Doesn't that frighten you?" Vextar asked her when she came down. Hannah removed her helmet and wiped sweat from her face. "What the height?" "Nah, you get used to it. It's actually pretty peaceful up there. Great view of the volcanoes." That evening, Mayor Soyan took them to a restaurant. She ordered something called spicy stew, and ate it happily while Vextar's team drank nutrition paste through their suit ports. "I have to ask," Vextar said carefully. "Your planet is classified as Class 15. The most dangerous rating possible. Why did humans choose to live here?" Soyan smiled and looked out the window at the storm. "Captain, our ancestors came from Earth. Earth has high gravity, violent weather, earthquakes, volcanoes, and dangerous animals. This planet?" She gestured around. "It's just a bit more intense. We saw the challenges, sure. But we also saw opportunity. Rich minerals, geothermal energy, empty land. And honestly, her smile widened. We like a good challenge. Captain Vextar sat across from an elderly human man named Juno Lee. The old man's hair was white, his face wrinkled, but his eyes were sharp and clear. He had been one of the original colonists who arrived 40 years ago. You want to know our story? Juno said, pouring tea with steady hands despite the building swaying from another earthquake. It's simple, really. We were looking for a home. Vextar leaned forward, his translator working to capture every word. This was important. The council needed to understand how humans thought. Our ship was called Endeavor, Juno continued. We left Earth before humanity joined your council. There were 10,000 of us. Engineers, farmers, doctors, teachers. We came from Earth's hardest places. Mountain communities where the air is thin. Deep sea platforms where pressure can crush metal. Arctic research stations where temperatures kill in minutes. Desert settlements where water is precious. Why leave Earth? Mira asked. Juno smiled. Earth was getting crowded. We wanted space. Freedom. A chance to build something new with our own hands. So we searched for years looking for the right planet. Then we found this place. But the scans must have shown how dangerous it is, Vextar said. Oh, they did, Juno laughed. The computer listed every problem. High gravity. Constant storms. Active volcanoes. Dangerous wildlife. Toxic plants. Our ship's AI recommended we keep searching. He sipped his tea. But we saw something different. We saw geothermal energy everywhere. Rich mineral deposits. Fertile volcanic soil. Plenty of water. And most importantly, no one else wanted it. It was ours for the taking. Myra's bioluminescent markings pulsed with confusion. You saw opportunity in a Class 15 Deathworld? We didn't know about your classification system back then, Juno said. We just compared it to Earth. Sure, gravity was higher. Storms were stronger. Ground shook more often. But humans had already solved those problems on Earth. We just needed to scale up our solutions. Over the next week, Vextar interviewed dozens of colonists. Each story added another piece to the puzzle. A woman named Gion worked in the agricultural sector. She showed him vast greenhouses growing modified crops. The volcanic soil is incredibly rich, she explained as the building shook around them. We reinforced the structures with flexible joints. They bend with the earthquakes instead of breaking. Simple engineering. Simple engineering. Vextar had seen the designs. They were brilliant, using principles his own species hadn't considered. A man named Taeyong ran the city's power grid. The storms were our biggest gift, he said, showing Vextar massive lightning collectors on every building. Unlimited free energy. We generate 3 times what we need. We're actually selling power to our mining operations on the moons. The mining operations on the moons. Humans had not only colonized the Deathworld but had expanded to its satellite bodies. But the most shocking interview came from the teenagers. Vextar spoke with a group of young humans born on this planet. They had never seen Earth. This Class 15 nightmare was their normal. A 17-year-old girl named Nari showed him her hobby. She climbed the volcanic cliffs during storms. For fun. Why? Vextar asked, genuinely baffled. Nari shrugged. It's exciting. The lightning makes everything glow purple and blue. It's beautiful up there. Plus, it's good exercise. Her friend Yuna added, last week we camped near the northern volcanoes. The lava flows at night are amazing. You should see them. They camp near active volcanoes. For recreation. Vextar spoke with their parents that evening. Aren't you worried about your children? The parents, Hyunwoo and Yunji, exchanged glances. Worried about what? Hyunwoo asked. The dangers. The storms. The earthquakes. The wildlife. Yunji smiled. Captain, our children are careful. They know the safety rules. They wear proper gear. They check weather forecasts. Same as we did when we were young on Earth. But Earth is... Vextar stopped. He had checked Earth's classification. Class 9. Earth itself was a death world. These humans had evolved on a planet that would kill most galactic species. No wonder they found this planet merely challenging. On his last day, Vextar visited the colony's medical center. A doctor named Mincio showed him her research. We're seeing interesting adaptations in the children born here, she explained, displaying genetic scans. Enhanced bone density. More efficient hearts and lungs. Faster reflexes. The second generation is even better adapted than we are. Evolution, Vextar whispered. Exactly. In a few generations, These humans will be completely optimized for this world. They'll probably find Earth too easy, too soft. That night, Vextar stood on the observation deck of his ship, looking down at New Incheon. The city glowed against the dark landscape, beautiful and impossible. Lightning danced across the sky. The ground trembled. And 2 million humans simply went about their lives. He finally understood. Humans didn't conquer death worlds. They just refused to see them as death worlds at all. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 50 species shouted, argued, and demanded answers. Holographic displays showed images of New Incheon from every angle. The numbers were undeniable. Humans had colonized a Class 15 death world. Council Speaker Thora, a dignified Quillan elder, raised her luminescent crest for silence. Order. We must discuss this rationally. Rationally? Snapped Ambassador Krev of the Vrexian Empire. His scales flushed deep red with agitation. My species has explored space for 3,000 years. We are considered the most adaptable race in the galaxy. Our maximum colonization rating is Class 8. Yet humans who joined the Council only 30 years ago with primitive technology are thriving on a Class 15 world. It challenges everything we know, admitted scientist Prime Oryx, whose crystalline form sparkled with anxious energy. Our models say it's impossible. Yet the evidence is clear. Ambassador Chin Suho of Earth stood calmly at his podium. He was a young diplomat, only 40 years old, but he had learned to hide his amusement at the galaxy's reactions to human capabilities. Honorable Council members, Suho began, my government was unaware of New Incheon until your discovery. The colony ship left Earth before we had faster-than-light communication. They were independent pioneers. However, we are not surprised they succeeded. Not surprised. Krev's forearms gestured wildly. Your species treats the impossible as routine. What you call impossible, Ambassador Krev, we call difficult, Suho replied. There is a difference. Council Speaker Thora intervened. Ambassador Suho, we need clarity. How many other human colonies exist on high-classification worlds? Suho consulted his data pad. Our records show 6 independent colonies on planets your system rates Class 11 through 13. All are self-sufficient. All are growing. The chamber exploded again. 6 colonies. Humans had quietly colonized 6 death worlds while the galaxy wasn't watching. This is a security concern, declared Ambassador Voth of the Peaceful Union. A species capable of surviving anywhere could expand without limit. Or, countered Representative Lyra of the Harmonious Collective, they could help us. We have 17 failing colonies on Class 7 and 8 worlds. Colonies that cost us trillions in resources and still struggle. If humans can teach us their methods. Teach us? Krev interrupted. The mighty Vrexian Empire needs lessons from newcomers? Over the following weeks, the Council formed special committees. Scientists studied every aspect of human biology and psychology. The findings were disturbing. Dr. Prax, the galaxy's leading xenobiologist, presented his team's research to a packed assembly hall. We made a critical error in our initial assessment of Earth, Prax admitted, his tentacles writhing with embarrassment. We classified it as Class 9, which we considered moderately dangerous. We now realize we severely underestimated the threat. The hologram behind him showed Earth rotating slowly. Prax highlighted features as he spoke. Earth has extreme axial tilt, causing violent seasonal changes. It has a massive moon creating devastating tidal forces. Active tectonic plates that regularly destroy cities. Weather systems spawning hurricanes, tornadoes, and typhoons. An atmosphere containing corrosive oxygen that would poison most species. Ocean zones with crushing pressure. Land zones with temperatures that range from boiling to freezing. He paused, letting the information sink in. Earth is not just a Class 9 world. If we reclassify it using updated models, Earth itself borders on Class 10. Humans evolved on a death world. They are deathworlders. The implications rippled through the galaxy. Every species reassessed their understanding of humanity. The strange behaviors finally made sense. Humans kept predatory animals as companions because they evolved alongside apex predators. They ate varied diets because Earth's environment was unpredictable. They formed strong emotional bonds because survival required cooperation on a deadly world. The Peaceful Union's President Morrow made a formal proposal. The Council should invite humanity to join the Colonization Assistance Program. Dozens of worlds sit empty because they're too dangerous. Worlds rich in resources we desperately need. If humans can teach other species their survival techniques, We could expand habitable space by thousands of planets. Not everyone agreed. The Vrexian Empire felt threatened. For millennia they had been the toughest species, the ones others respected and feared. Humans challenged that position. Ambassador Krev met privately with Ambassador Suho in a diplomatic garden maintained at comfortable temperature for both species. "Your people make mine look weak," Krev said bluntly. Suho shook his head. "Ambassador, humans don't want to compete. We just want to live our lives. Your people have gifts we don't possess. Your neural processing speed exceeds ours. Your engineering creates beauty we cannot match. But you can survive anywhere." "Not anywhere," Suho corrected. "We have limits too. We just haven't found them yet." Krev's scales rippled with grudging respect. "Perhaps that is what frightens us most." The council voted. By a narrow margin they approved the partnership. Humanity would share its environmental adaptation techniques. In exchange, the council offered advanced technology, trade routes, and expanded representation. But they also added a new classification to the galactic database. Species were now rated not just by intelligence or technology, but by colonization capability. Humans received a unique designation, Adaptive Deathworld Species. 8 months after the discovery, Captain Vextar returned to New Incheon. This time he came not as an explorer, but as humanity's official liaison to the Galactic Council. His ship descended through the storms with less terror than before. He was getting used to it. Mayor Soyeon Park greeted him at the landing pad with her usual warm smile. "Welcome back, Captain. The City Council is waiting to discuss the Council's proposal." The proposal was simple. The Galactic Council offered to send advanced technology to make life easier in New Incheon. Better shields against the storms. Gravity compensators. Climate control systems. Terraforming equipment to reduce the planet's danger level over time. In exchange, humans would share their survival knowledge with struggling colonies across the galaxy. The City Council meeting took place in a reinforced hall. 200 citizens attended, representing every district. Vextar watched as they debated for 3 hours. The discussion was passionate but respectful. Finally they voted. The results appeared on the display screen. 73% against accepting the Council's technology assistance. 27% in favor. Vextar couldn't hide his shock. "You're refusing help? But the technology could save lives. Make your children safer." Mayor Soyeon smiled sadly. "Captain, we appreciate the offer. But we came here for a reason. We wanted to build something ourselves. To prove we could thrive in a difficult place. If we let machines do everything for us, what's the point?" An elderly man named Kongmin stood and addressed Vextar directly. "My grandchildren were born here. They're strong, resilient, smart. They solve problems I never could at their age. This planet made them that way. If we make it too easy, what will they become?" However, the Council voted unanimously to share human knowledge with other species. Within weeks, human consultants traveled to struggling colonies across the galaxy. The Krell colony on planet Vortex was dying. The Class 10 world had defeated every attempt at permanent settlement. When human engineer Jaiwan arrived, she found a colony of 3,000 Krell living in sealed domes, terrified to venture outside. "Show me your problems," Jaiwan said simply. The Krell listed everything. Extreme temperature swings. Toxic atmosphere. Unpredictable weather. Dangerous wildlife. Structural failures from ground instability. Jaiwan walked outside in a basic environmental suit. She studied the terrain. Tested the soil. Watched the weather patterns. After 3 days she returned with a plan. "You're fighting the planet," she explained. "Stop fighting. Work with it. The temperature swings? Use them to generate power. The ground instability? Build flexible foundations that move with the ground instead of against it. The toxic atmosphere? There are minerals in it you can harvest and sell." The Krell engineer Thress was skeptical. "These solutions seem too simple." "The best solutions usually are," Jaiwan replied. "Complicated doesn't mean better. Effective means better." Within 2 years, the Vortex colony wasn't just surviving. It was thriving. The population grew to 15,000. They expanded beyond the domes. Children played in protected playgrounds. The colony turned profitable. Similar stories repeated across the galaxy. Human consultants didn't just fix problems. They taught others to think differently about hostile environments. On New Incheon, life continued. The second generation of children born on the planet showed remarkable adaptations. Dr. Mincio published her findings in galactic medical journals. The children had denser bones, stronger muscles, more efficient cardiovascular systems. Their reflexes were 30% faster than Earth-born humans. Their eyes adapted to see better in the constant storms. A new generation was evolving. Vextar interviewed a young woman named Boyoung, who was 21 years old and had never visited Earth. She worked as a wilderness guide, leading tours to the most dangerous regions of the planet. "Don't you want to see Earth?" Vextar asked. "Your ancestral home?" Boyoung looked puzzled. "Why would I? Earth is too calm. Too peaceful. I watched videos. Everything is so easy there. No real challenges." This was the future, Vextar realized. Humans who found Earth boring. Humans who sought even greater challenges. "What's beyond the southern mountains?" Vextar asked, looking at a map. Boyoung's eyes lit up with excitement. "The scorched waste. The original colonists marked it as too dangerous for settlement. Ground temperature reaches 200 degrees. Acid geysers erupt randomly. The wildlife there is even more aggressive. And you want to go there?" "Next month," Boyoung confirmed. "I'm leading an expedition. 20 of us. We'll survey the area, test if we can establish an outpost. If we succeed, it'll be the first settlement in the wastes." She said it casually, as if discussing a vacation trip. That evening, Vextar submitted his final report to the Galactic Council. He wrote carefully, choosing each word with precision. "Humanity does not conquer Deathworlds. They do not force these planets to become something else. Instead, they adapt, they learn, and they build communities in places that would kill anyone else. Perhaps we have been asking the wrong question. Not, how do humans survive Deathworlds? But rather, why does the rest of the galaxy fear these worlds so much? We may have much to learn from these extraordinary beings. They see challenges where we see impossibilities. They see opportunities where we see death. And perhaps, that is humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, showing us that our limits are often just our fears." He attached images to the report. Children playing in New Inchan's parks during lightning storms. Humans climbing mountains during earthquakes. Farmers working fields as volcanoes erupted in the distance. The final image showed Boyoung and her team preparing for their expedition into the scorched wastes. They were smiling, excited, ready for adventure. Vextar added one last sentence to his report. "If humanity wanted easy, they would have stayed on Earth." He sent the transmission and looked out at the city below. New Inchan glowed against the dark landscape, its lights defiant against the storms. Somewhere down there, 2 million humans were living their lives, raising families, pursuing dreams, and planning their next great challenge. The galaxy would never be the same. The end.